Hello, happy Sunday. Welcome to the MIZZES Reviews channel. Let's welcome in our regular co-host James on the Watch Your Mouth Reviews channel. Hi.
Hey, everybody.
Good afternoon. I keep feeling like it's the morning because it's right at noon, but we're here to go over the Housewives of Miami. This episode is titled Miami Takes Milan. I was annoyed with just about everybody through this episode. I was annoyed with Lisa. I was annoyed with Larsa.
Always.
I was extremely annoyed with Julia. I was annoyed with Gertie.
Yes.
Everybody annoyed me throughout this episode equally. But that's good because these ladies are actually giving us like entertainment without all the extra tabloidy stuff, if that makes sense. But we start this episode with Lisa telling Gertie and Adriana that she's going to Milan. She is nervous because she's going to see Larsa while in Milan. So Lisa's going to Milan to walk in a fashion show. I couldn't catch his name. I think it was Felipe or something. I couldn't catch the name of this designer.
I know. Yeah, it was a design. I know that designer, but I just don't remember his name. I know what you're talking about.
He is the person who invited Lisa to be in this fashion. So she's excited to go. But Lisa irritated me. Here's step one of the annoyance. She is nervous to see Larsa at this fashion show, and then she follows that up with, yeah, and my dad is sick. He's dying. But I have to live my life, so I'm going to go to Italy. And I'm like, what? Am I hearing this correctly? So we're going to talk about this like a couple times throughout the episode, but I was like, you're going to go walk in a fashion show in Italy. But your dad, who you just told us you recently made amends with, is sick to points where he could potentially be dying. But you're still going to go to Italy because you have to live your life. You don't have to be in the best place with anybody that was important to you. I think if someone is dying, that's the best time to like maybe put some things behind you, let some things go, and just take whatever time you have left with them. Yes, you have to live your life, but damn.
I just couldn't imagine. Like, I couldn't imagine not being there with my dad in his final days, because it really brought a lot into perspective, because me and my father also had a very strained relationship where there were times we didn't speak. There were times where I didn't call him. There were times where, you know, we just really did not see eye to eye. And I was in a whole nother state. I was in Florida when my father's health took a turn for the worse. And I didn't even think I was going to be able to get to him because of what my relationship was at that time. So the fact that I wanted to be with my dad, but it was just so much going on, and the fact that she could be with her dad, but chooses to do an opportunity, it just goes to show you where her heart really is. Because like you said, they made amends. Yes, their relationship has been very strained, but at the same time, you're never going to get that time back if he shall close his eyes right when you're in, you know, a whole other country. So It's like you really are not looking at this from the best point of view. I think you're looking at it as everything is normal, and it's not normal right now.
She's trying to be, Lisa seems like the type who we've seen across all of the Housewife franchises, but she's so wrapped up into fame, looking young and being relevant. You could tell that she's just deeply shallow. I don't like it, but we're going to come back to that again. Larsa's going to Milan as well because this designer is a good friend of Larsa's. We know that Lisa and Larsa were cool. Now they're not because of the whole drama with Jody and Marcus and all the foolery. Larsa's not walking in the show. She recommended her son to walk in the show, which I'm all for. But I'm going to tell y'all just from right here, right now, before we go any further. Larsa annoyed me. On one end, I respect her for being the type of parent that's like, my son wants to do this. Hey, instead of me walking, can my kid do it? Like, that part is dope. But then as we get into the episode, it's like Most parents uplift their kids because they want them to succeed or they want them to be able to do something that they love. As it relates to fashion, I think a good example of that would be Meredith Marks and Brooks, you know? And then there's other parents that want their kids to do well so that their kids can take care of them or so that they can benefit from their kids' success. I don't like that. I think parents should be able to benefit from the success of their children. But if you plotting on that, that's a little cringy. So I'm gonna just get that out the way now. But we're gonna come back to the whole situation with the fashion show to discuss later. Because in the beginning, it was just like, okay, they're both gonna be stuck on a plane and all this stuff together. Alexia's on my nerves, James Jackson. We have to talk about her next. She is on my nerves. There's a documentary on Hulu that I encourage everybody to watch on Alexia's first husband, who was basically a big narco guy. I personally feel like that was the one she cared for, but she don't want to admit it because it don't look too good. It explains some of her financial struggles. But it also kind of shows me that she's just dumb and a little bit of a dingbat when it comes to dating and men, like personally. Like it's really just that simple. I don't think it's cultural. I think she's just a dingbat when it comes to men. Some women are like this and they do that.
Yes.
And Alexia gives me the type of woman that feels like she has to have a man. She has to have a husband. You could tell that she lets her ability to have or keep a man define her. And it irks my soul. She goes with Julia to do yoga. I was pissed off, though, more so with Julia in this scene because Julia does not care about seeing Gertie. And Lexi is wondering what's going on with that, asking about the friendship. And Julia bullshits, talking about she got a cold text from Gertie and is mad. And the cold text that she says that she got from Gertie is when she announced her kids and there was an issue with the Zoom. Gertie was trying to get back into the Zoom. Julia was like, well, you're just going to find out, with the rest of the world because it's out there, it's public. And so Gertie, then when she found out, sent Julia a text saying, congrats. Julia, you need to go. They need to fire her. This is ridiculous. This reminds me of Heather Gay, Whitney, Meredith, like housewives that are notorious for not having a storyline or contributing much to a show that will lie and grasp at anything to be relevant.
So when you really look at the outer rim of it, that is a stupid thing to even want to bring up on TV in the first place. That's what you're trying to say. What is the
problem?
What is the issue?
What is she supposed to say?
Right.
She said congrats. What else is she supposed to say?
Like, was she supposed to send you a gift? Was she supposed to, like, we need more content. If you're going to use this as your storyline, we need to understand what Gertie did wrong in the circumstance. Because to me, I didn't hear anything that was relevant enough to say, I have an issue with you. You did this, you did that. I could see if Gertie went on the Zoom call or whatever it was and then said, oh, girl, that's nothing, bye. And then we would have an issue because what's important to me is important to me, regardless of how small you think it is. But that's not what she said, and that's not what she did. So it's like, well, what are you mad at?
It's stupid. It's all extremely stupid.
I'm saying, Julia, we don't want you to drag this out.
I think Julia set Gertie up
10 episodes just to get to the point.
I feel like Julia set Gertie up so that she could have a storyline. I feel like it was intentional and planned between her and her wife because in the first episode of this season, when Gertie was trying to talk to Martina, Martina was looking like, like she didn't do anything wrong. I feel like Julia definitely did something and is playing puppet master in some way with the mess, but it still doesn't make sense. I'm so glad Gertie has shared receipts.
Me too.
What the fuck else are you going to say? If James texts me or calls me and is like, yeah, you missed the conference call announcement, he would have just told me via text, oh, I've adopted some babies. This was very important to me.
Congratulations,
Gertie have to go and wait for the press to announce it when you had the ability to text back. You could have also said in that text, yes, it was just that I adopted boys. I know that you're happy for me. That's all it had to be. Julia needs to go. I don't like this woman. It's starting to give Karen a little bit. Because why play with Gertie when you have people on the cast that you know are so disliked by the audience, such as Larsa? You got people on here that's playing innocent and acting like their life is perfect. No shade, Marisol. Sorry. You got a lot of different women on here who I feel like she could have gone after, but to go after Gertie, it gives Karen. It just does.
I agree.
Y'all can feel how you feel. It doesn't make sense. So Julia, she read more text and then she said she was left to the side for a dinner. I'm just tired of that whole drama between those two personally. I'm going to struggle, James, talking about it because I feel like it's going to be like a major plot in this season. And Gertie has already provided us with receipts. So if Julia keeps this up episode after episode, it's not going to look good for her at the reunion. It's just not. Alexia's husband, we learn through this meeting after they move on from Julia and Gertie's bullshit. Alexia exposes the fact that her husband, Todd, who divorced her at the beginning of the season, months have gone by since then. Now, Todd has 30 days, according to a judge in the Miami courthouse, to either proceed with the divorce or drop the filing. So when you file for divorce, when you do anything in court, if no action comes to it, eventually they can dismiss or drop the case after so long. 5 or 6 months, I guess Florida's faster than some other places. Hell.
Right, because I've known some places it's been years and still ain't no resolvement. And both parties have not communicated or anything. So yeah, Florida is very quick. I guess Florida said we don't have time for y'all to waste people's tax dollars. It's already expensive in this state, this city particularly. So why waste our time? Either you gonna shit or get off the pot.
No, for real. I think it's good. I think this needs to happen more often because if you really are done with somebody, you will leave. Now, if it's taking forever because you're in court battling, that's different. At least you're trying to get out of it. But they're just sitting still, going on vacations, doing all this crazy stuff. And Alexia's dumbass says that she's hoping that Todd ignores it and that the filing goes away and that they're able to stay married.
But then what will that do for you then? Because we need to get to the point of why the divorce filing happened in the first place. Is it because you didn't want the divorce and he does, but he doesn't know your stipulation of what you want from the divorce? It just seems like there's a lot more that either she's not saying or either he's holding back from because he needs to see what her next move is. Are you going to get me for something? Like, what is going to happen?
I feel like there's a lot more that we don't know. She seems like the type to want to put on to look like she has a perfect life.
Right.
But separate from that, as a woman, if my husband files for divorce for me, in the way, not like if we having problems in any files where it's like, oh, okay, I can see that coming. If me and my husband were not having problems, I'm under the impression that things between us are good and on the up and that he's happy, we're sleeping together, all of that. And then one day he just randomly moves out in front of my child and says, F me and my family, takes his kid with him and files for divorce. How would I feel secure in that relationship knowing that he won't do that again? Like, it's not just that he filed. Like, most couples know it's coming and are just waiting on one or the other, or like Ralph and Drew and, literally having a race to the fucking courthouse. But most of the time, like, they know that it's coming within their own relationship, even if the public doesn't. So it's just weird to be willing to like be entirely caught off guard. Like, that's love bombing, gaslighting. That's all of that in between. So I don't know. We'll see. She's stupid. She's too old to be that dumb. She's too old and too pretty to be that dumb, but I'm not surprised. I'm not. Anywho, y'all, in Milan, Lisa and Larsa have to ride in the same car after they had to ride on the same flight while they're beefing. And in the car, they're riding together. Larsa has her son ride in the front seat because, he wants to for whatever reason. I feel like her kids can't stand her, but they love her to death. They just seem like that energy. She
gives me like she's way too like complicated to be around. Like even being her children. So I just feel like they are just exhausted of her. So whatever they can do to free up some space, they're going to take it. Because she does embarrassing shit. So I can understand. I really can. I can understand why her son would be like, I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to deal with you. I don't want to deal with all of this. Like, it just makes me wonder what she was like with Scott.
Look, by the way, her kids look just like him.
Just like him. It's
Just
so
like
scary.
him.
Like big nose and everything. And I'm just like, damn.
But
You
I
know,
do wonder, like, seeing the son in this episode did make me wonder, like, what it was like when they were all like a family
her
together.
family, yes. I want to know what she was like because
Yeah.
something tells me she was not like this.
She's probably changed a lot after being with
Mhm.
him.
I think
But these two,
she started to smell her own ass is what the problem is.
I can't stand you. Now, y'all, in this car, Jody, who is Lisa's boyfriend, keep chiming in to the conversation. I don't like that Lisa encourages her man to have conversations with her girlfriends. If my dude got a problem with my girlfriends, which has happened, so I've been with the same person a very long time, like, I'm not gonna push him to have a conversation. I'm not going to push her to have a conversation, but I'll let them both know if y'all want to have a conversation with each other, you can. But I'm not going to push it. I feel like that's weird. And Lisa is just like, nope, talk to Jody. And it's like, but Jody is not her friend. He is just your boyfriend and one that has not been around that long. So it's weird that she wants that. I didn't feel like he should even be comfortable chiming in with a bunch of women when he himself is a man. But okay, Jody. Um, Everybody involved in the situation is wrong. Larsa should not expect her friends' boyfriends to not hang out with her ex. You can expect for Lisa not to hang out with Marcus, but to expect Jody to have to hang out with Marcus is too much. Jody is wrong because why are you hanging out with somebody that you barely know, who's not even in your age range, who you know is the ex of somebody that you were close to? You only know him through that. Like, everybody's wrong. They're just all wrong in some way. So it's stupid to me that this is still going and that it's become such a big deal. But I did not like Lisa trying to make Larsa feel bad for talking about the situation in front of her adult son. Let's not do this in front of the kids. These housewives need to stop that bullshit. That boy is grown. This is not a 10-year-old. This is not like on the Housewives of New Jersey.
Larsa doesn't want to be old, so this is her problem. That's why I said she lives in such a delusion that is so crazy to me. Like, I'm sorry, y'all. I try with her every time. I do. I try, but I cannot with her. I have never seen someone so entitled and such a complete and utter narcissist that it kills me to watch her on national TV.
I think Lisa and Larsa are the same.
They are. They are. No,
They're exactly the same. And I feel like Larsa takes
one has more access than the other. That's the only difference.
Larsa takes, I think, more of the heat and the public like scrutiny. Obviously, I think she puts herself in those situations. Larsa puts herself in situations to get talked about. Like,
exactly, she does. Like dating Marcus Jordan. Like, that was like, you knew what that was going to do. First of all, you probably have known this man since he was a baby.
Yep.
And you have to understand what that looks like. That's almost like, I don't want to say a predator behavior, but it is in a sense, because your husband has played with his father back in the 80s and 90s. Like, come on, man. Like, you cannot think.
They got a beef in current time or something.
I thought it was they had a beef in that time too. So
they did.
I was going to say they had a beef in that time as well. So
still,
to me,
this day,
it looks bad all around because the man is still in his 30s. You have been married. I don't want to get into it because to me, it's just nasty. She
knows that she's wrong. I do feel like, though, regardless, her son is an adult. So Lisa trying to say, oh, let's not talk about this in front of the baby, like it's going to hurt him. When the boy is old enough to see the tabloids, watch the show, understand how his mom is, and see much worse. It was foul.
In the house with her. Trust me, he knows who his mom is.
He knows what she's doing. So that's why I don't like when people try to use parenting. Don't try to paint somebody as a bad parent. Like, Larsa may be a lot of things and has done some bad things, but don't try to paint her as a bad parent for having a conversation with her adult son in front of you. Like, don't do that. That's annoying.
Yeah, you're assuming that he doesn't know what she into and what she does, and I'm sure he knows because it's all. He's
not a child, so it's
all over the place. Even if he was a child, he still can Google.
Yeah, so that's true.
It's like he said, most kids is on YouTube these days. You don't think he gonna put Larsa Pippen and not see this shit pop up? No, that's why I said I think people shelter kids from things they have access to see. It's
They
better
do.
coming out
They
of
do.
your mouth than it would be better seeing it on YouTube from somebody like me, James Watch Your Mouth Reviews, talking his shit about your mouth. It's better coming from her mouth than mine.
That is true.
Just
That
saying.
is very true. But that's exactly why I say it's wrong for Lisa to have brought that up. Don't exploit someone else's. Leave that alone. Sometimes it's too far. But Lisa then says that she's not wanting to deal with the drama with Larsa and shuts down the conversation because she says her dad is sick. I said, "Oh wow, bitch, don't you dare!" She pissed me off when she did that. She did, y'all, because Lisa, you chose to go away from your father while he was sick. You chose to get on a plane. You literally just said in a confessional, my dad is dying, but I got to live my life. Now you want to throw that in Larsa's face? If it wasn't your problem, don't make it her problem. I'm not siding with her either, but I'm just saying if you don't do that. Don't do that. And Larsa points out to her, well, if your dad is so sick, then why are you in Milan? She said, why are you here? And I don't like Larsa. It was very cold of her to say, but she told not one lie.
I don't like Larsa either, but no, that was a very true statement. Why are you here? Why aren't you in, the States seeing about your father? If the opportunity was meant to be yours, it would happen again. And I'm sure the designer, who is close friends with you and Larsa, would understand this circumstance. You only get one set of parents.
Oh, I don't think that designer was close friends with Lisa. I think he's good friends with
Just because from Larsa? He just asked Lisa to walk into the fashion show?
Yeah, we're going to discuss that.
I misread that because I thought he was good friends with Lisa too.
No, I have that in my notes. We're going to go over that when we get to the fashion show because I was catching that designer is shady. He
was, but I didn't pick that up from him. I thought he was kind of, maybe that was his personality. Maybe I misread it.
No. I'm gonna explain why in a second, but no, that designer, I don't think Lisa and Larsa had a beef at a time that I don't think Lisa was expected to have a beef at all. But either way, Larsa had a point. Lisa, don't throw your dad in people's face when you chose to be there. Please don't do that. But we fast forward back to Miami. Gertie's at the doctor with her husband. This is a strange couple. Like I could tell he really cares about her, but they're an odd pairing for me. I respect Gertie for showing her progress, after the diagnosis of cancer, she's overcoming. She's explained that she's gone through several rounds of chemo, has had 6 surgeries. She's trying to get her body back, which I can understand. She finds out she's going to need 3 more surgeries for reconstruction because she's having an issue with her nipples and the correct placement and those things. Her husband is against her having more surgeries which makes sense. He has to be the caretaker. He's the one watching her down and in extreme pain and all of these things. And Gertie is like, I'm right there. I just want to get it perfect. I get it. She wants her body to look how it used to. But it's kind of sad to watch also because it's like, Mama, you had cancer. Like, you lived, you survived. I wish that she would be able to be grateful for that instead of trying to perfect her body. Because I think realistically, she also has to accept you may get your body to look good surgery wise, but it will never look the way it used to. And that's okay. You survived, so I definitely see that as a struggle. I think it's important to do what makes you feel well. But I also think if your husband's showing concern and he's your primary caretaker, maybe talk to a therapist or a life coach or somebody for a session or 2 and, make sure that you're just trying to make sure your surgeries are right versus try to get your body back to a space that it may not go back to, So it's kind of hard to watch that scene, but I do greatly respect and admire Gertie for sharing that because a lot of women go through that and they don't share all of those processes. She dropped that shawl so quick on the camera. I said, okay, Gertie. But how'd you feel about it, James?
Like you, it was sad to watch. I appreciate her sharing that on camera because I think that's a thing that a lot of cancer survivors do is that they have to readjust to a new normal. And sometimes your feelings get hurt because you loved the you before the cancer. So I think that it's an unfortunate thing. And I agree she needs to seek therapy so she can try to readjust herself and align better with this new version of her that has survived something that most people don't survive from. So I think that, she does need to seek some therapy. Maybe also to also align her mind and her thought process too. I think that that might be important for her as well. But it was sad for me to watch that because I can understand what she is saying. But I want her to, you know, kind of just deal with it better than how she's dealing with it, just so she doesn't get any form of depression from it.
Yeah. Yeah. Mental health is important. And cancer is a lot to process. It's a lot for the loved ones of people actually fighting cancer. And it's even harder on the people themselves who have that cancer. So I wish her the best in it. It was nice to see that her partner is supportive and seems to care about her. So, I hope that it works out for her. Julia, this ain't looking good for you, boo. Because you ask shit like this in. And then the way Julia tried to comfort Gertie for no apparent reason. This lady over here trying to get her body back, trying to live her new life after surviving a scare of cancer. And Julia's wife had cancer herself too. So I'm looking like, girl, over a congrats, you throwing a fit when this lady was fighting for her life. If I was Gertie, I would never fucking deal with Julia again. Like, if any of my friends had cancer, I don't care. I'm that friend that's like, until you are like well past 10 years out of remission, I'm not starting to beef with you. I'm just glad that you're here and alive. Like, I don't get how Julia can have that attitude, but we're going to move forward. I won't roast the lady no more. Marisol, I call her the white Jackie Christie, y'all. Hear me out. Some of the things that Marisol says to me are just insane, but she's with Steve. They're going to be doing a vow renewal. I didn't feel like that was too much to talk about, but it was really weird to me. They're a strange couple to me. I always find it weird when couples in scenes by themselves discuss other couples or other cast members more than they do themselves. It makes me want to like look more into their relationship. And Marisol and Steve kind of did that, discussing Alexia and Todd. Marisol's kind of expressing that like while Alexia is going through a hard time, she beats up on Marisol and Marisol thinks it's because, she's a familiar person and she takes it and she can recognize that Alexia is going through something. Let me say this. Marisol and Steve, please find something else to talk about. Please. Marisol, if you feel that way about your friendship, then tell your friend that, even if she's going through that, because she's choosing to go through that. She's choosing to be in the roller coaster. She's choosing it. And she's still grown. I don't give a fuck what nobody going through. Ain't nobody going to be mistreating me just because they going through something or going through a divorce or having a bad day. No. Just because you go through something don't mean you could just be snapping at people. So if that is the case, confront it. Don't talk about it with your husband and move on. But they kind of bored me. James, did you want to add anything to today's scene?
No, we can move on.
Like, she reminds me of Caroline Manzo from years ago on Housewives of New Jersey. It was like, why are you here? Why are you here? But okay. Larsa back in Milan, Italy. She's talking to her son about Lisa, and I respected her son because her son clearly doesn't care. He told his mom that is their business and to just let them be. He just wants to walk in the show, and I'm cracking up. And Lisa in the other dressing room is mad about Larsa's comments on her dad. But I also, in that moment, felt like Jody is sketchy. I don't know if anybody else has gotten that vibe from Lisa's boyfriend. James, do you feel like he's a little bit sketchy?
Most Miami men are, so yeah, absolutely.
Not most Miami men. Damn. He just seems shady. He just seems really shady. But in the words of Larsa's son, that's their business. So Larsa is with the designer who is having them to walk in a fashion show, her friend. And it was interesting because I felt like this scene showed where the designer's loyalty lies. Because when the designer walked in the room, he said to Larsa, he said, "Where's your friend? Where's your friend? The one who's walking in the show." She was like, "Lisa, she's not my friend anymore." I said, interesting. The designer said, "Where's your friend?" If Lisa's his friend, you would think he would acknowledge her as that. Then he made a slick comment like, "Oh, does she still need to work in the show? Is everything okay?" And all of this. So I'm looking, and even Larsa, as well as a designer, at certain points of the show, it does seem like Lisa may have been able to walk in the show because she knows the designer through Larsa. Regardless, she did great, but I don't think that Lisa and this designer are that close friends. James, I don't know if you caught that, but he said, "Where's your friend? Why's she late?"
I didn't catch that because once again, yes, he does look shady, but I didn't take that to mean like he didn't equally as know her. So now I'm gonna have to look at that scene again because you guys know I watched this after the fact, just to see if I missed something. So that way next week I can come back and with the BS. But I didn't catch that, so that's why I'm like, I didn't catch it like that, but it could have been that.
I feel like he knows of her and probably has hang out with her through Larsa and the social circle that comes with Bravo. But I don't feel like he has a relationship with her as he does with Larsa. Some other things pointed out. Larsa's son was able to go second in the show. They put Lisa 50th. I said, well, damn. I said, huh. I'm wondering if
I
that's
thought
what
they were doing that because of her being slightly, well, not slightly, but just older and kind of like, they do that in the fashions. They always put like the young, fresh, and vibrant ones in the beginning and then kind of uses the more experienced, older ones at the end. That's kind of how I look at it.
Who knows? We'll never know. All I know is for what it's looking like so far for the designer himself, it don't look like Lisa and him are that close, but it does look like Lisa's relevant enough to walk in the show. So it was just weird that we had to film like between Milan and all of that. They gave us a lot of scenes that I didn't feel we needed. And I'd like to say that the clothes, no shade, they looked like prison jumpsuits.
You said it, not me. Because I thought the same thing.
They look
I
like
think that's the style,
jumpers.
because that's the second designer that I've seen with that similar style. I don't know what this is and why we're like wearing it, but it's bad. I didn't like the designs at all.
I didn't care for them, not on the women or the men, but it was what it was. It was what it was, child. Now, Alexia back in Miami is having an event for one of her friends who has moved to Madrid, Spain. So she doesn't see him as often, but this is a very close friend of hers. She tells us that she decided to invite all of the women who were left in Miami, but did not invite Gertie or Adriana because she says that they make things about themselves. Remember that statement. She did not invite Gertie and Adriana because she did not want them to make the event about them when she wanted the spotlight to be on her friend who is in town visiting from Madrid. So while at the dinner table for her friend's event, everybody ends up discussing Alexia's divorce, even though she didn't invite other people because she didn't want it to be about them. We're going to have to sit through this whole damn dinner being about Alexia. Her divorce comes up. All of her friends are telling her, she's like, I don't know what I got to do. I guess I just got to wait and see what he does. And her friends are explaining to her like, no, bitch, divorce goes both ways. If he don't move, you can move. And if you move, then you can get a divorce. And you can be done with this toxic foolery. Alexia kind of ignores that and goes on to this like crying saga. She says that she feels played. She says that the real issue with Todd is that he was upset about the show being Housewives of Miami, what we are recapping. And she says that she was willing to step down and leave the show just so that she could be with him and have her family. She says that when she said that to him, he told her, no, don't leave the show. It's too late. And this is where Marisol exposes that she thinks that Todd is only being nice to Alexia, taking her on vacations, whining and dining her because he knows that cameras are airing and filming. And Alexia lets us know that Todd doesn't like how he comes off on the show. And she understands that you can't always control it, but he doesn't like or do well with the fact that he cannot have control. Then she starts crying some more. And she says that everything that her and Todd have is rented. And it was almost like she was exposing herself before he can. That's what I got. She was like, the apartment we live in is rented. The cars we drive are rented. It's all fake. So I'm like, oh, y'all must have been like, y'all was perpetrating. Y'all really like the rest of us trying to keep up with the lifestyle you can't afford. If you don't get you a 2-bedroom, 1-bath apartment, girl, it's okay.
I mean, here's the thing. in Miami, that doesn't always look aesthetically pleasing sometimes.
So what?
Sometimes, huh?
Live within your means.
I feel like their means ain't really what they can afford in Miami because Miami is expensive. And then this is what my thing is this y'all don't have to live in proper Miami the way y'all do. Y'all can live in the outskirts. Y'all can live in Hollywood, Florida. It's only a 10-minute drive. Or y'all can go to Fort Lauderdale, or y'all can go, one of the other surrounding cities. You can go to Kendall. Well, no, y'all can go to Kendall. But y'all can go anywhere else in Miami and live good. Y'all don't have to live the way y'all live. It's
Yep.
crazy. That's just how I look at it. That's the thing. Like, there's so many ways to get around living well in Miami without having actually to live in Miami, like where they are.
It's the same thing, I think, in most metro areas that are popular. You can live well somewhere that's still technically within that metro area. For a good example, everybody comes to the Bay Area. Oh, I want to live in San Francisco. You can live near it and still live well for a little bit cheaper.
Absolutely.
And that's okay to do, but I don't really feel sorry for her. I knew she was broke for the
I
documentary.
don't know what she was exposing. That first of all, a lot of us viewers who know, especially because I live there, I know what I'm looking at when I'm seeing. Like, I know who has the real and who does not own this show. She definitely does not have it. She didn't have to expose that. I already knew that.
Well, we knew also because she did a documentary speaking about finances after her divorce and all the crazy stuff. So I'm not surprised. But the thing that I don't like, I miss when people came on the show and were like Kenya Moore. Like when she first came on Housewives of Atlanta. Like she was in that apartment. She had her white refrigerator. She let Nene talk about her and she laughed it off. It was like, hey, this is just what I can afford right now. And then they moved on. Because
see, that's the
that's the
thing.
situation.
He
That's
got
the
evicted on TV to end up in that, and that was an extended stay. So that wasn't even an apartment. That was an extended stay because the lady who she was renting from, her friend that she brought on the show, her first episode, ended up kicking her out and like evicted her, had the police there and everything. So yeah, I do agree with you. I need realism like that.
Yeah.
Because that's real life. Like, that's real, like, things happen like that. You have a disagreement with your friend, you're renting out their house, they throw you out because they don't want you there no more because of whatever falling out y'all had. Then you got to stay in extended stays in the ghetto, quoting Nene Leaks. And then, you know what I'm saying? So I want to see realism like that. I don't want to see people who perpetrate charade and act like you have all this money and all this access when really you just scam out coins and you know how to make $50,000 last 10 years.
Right.
So
it's annoying.
It's
Alexia needs to stop crying over this man. I'm tired of her acting like a victim. She has the ability to do things. Yes, this man is a narcissist, but she's not being abused from what we know. Get woman up, sis. That's all I got. Like, please. And it's interesting that you didn't invite Gertie or Adriana again. For you to sit here, her friend was looking confused and a little annoyed and cry and have a meltdown at somebody else's event that you wanted to be about them. You didn't invite some people because you thought they would make it about them just for you to make it about you. So I'm getting tired of Alexia because it seems like if anybody tries to check her, she's going to hide behind her divorce and all this she's going through. It's like, baby, you're choosing to go through this shit or get off the pot. I'll be damned if I wait for any nigga to determine how my future is going to be. I'm going to move how I move. And if you give me uncertainty, then I guess I'm going to have to remove you. Like, I don't get that. But, hopefully she'll learn, child. She'll learn eventually. Now, we get back to Milan. The fashion show day arrives. Larsa was petty. I didn't care. Let me tell y'all, you got to work a little bit harder to entertain Mrs. Best. I don't care about her taking selfies and all of that while Lisa walks. Lisa, good job on your little walk in this fashion show. I'm getting tired of Lisa too. I guess at the end of the fashion show, Lisa and Larsa made some peace. They made peace with the help of the rapper Fabulous. When a man who has knocked all of the teeth out of his woman's mouth has to help you make peace, then something is wrong with you bitches. He don't understand peace himself. It's true. That's it. If Fabulous has to give you advice, something is wrong. Something is wrong. Something is very wrong. Where's Emily?
With her new man.
I just can't. I can't. He don't have peace himself. He was
I
so
thought
excited about the Housewives.
funny is I thought the same thing. I couldn't take that scene serious worth a damn because I was like, wait, not him.
But he did say some of the right things because he
told
he
did, but it was just like coming from him, knowing what we know.
Right message, wrong deliverer.
Right. But
he told them both, stop playing with each other. Stop don't let your boyfriend just be hanging out with her ex-boyfriend, but you can't expect your boyfriends to not hang out with your exes. Like, y'all both wrong. It's a dumb beef. But they made peace. And right when they made peace, Jody threw a bitch fit. Apparently he got mad and left. We saw some of this while the cameras were filming, but Lisa was like, I don't care. He's okay. And it turns out when the cameras went down, it was not okay. Jody was severely upset. From the looks of it and what they explained, it looks like he might have flipped out on Larsa. I was cracking up when they showed what was going to happen in the next episode because the picture Larsa said, he had these big eyes. He was mad. I was like, so you took a picture of it? And his eyes looked big, but he didn't look bad. It looked like he might have took something. Honestly, he didn't look bad at all. But I'm like, okay, so you took a picture of Jody's big eyes, and Jody is mad that you and Larsa and Lisa are cool. Why that would bother him, I don't know. This is your woman's job. And he gives the energy of a nigga that's looking for a come up. So stop complaining and let her do her job. This is like Ralph Part 2, except there's no Tampa and no marriage. I don't like Jody. He gives me weird. But what do you think happened, James? Because they're so dramatic. Like everyone involved, Lisa,
it's
Larsa,
hard to really pinpoint. It's hard to pinpoint. Just because I don't know them as well as I know Gertie, Larsa, Julia. Like it's hard for me to really pinpoint them. It really is. Because you guys know I didn't come into this season. I probably started watching it maybe season 4. When did Larsa come on the show?
The beginning.
But she was there from the beginning?
Not think Larsa. So.
What am I thinking of? It's somebody came in. It was somebody's first season, season 4. Because wasn't season 3 the last season with the mama with the face?
I don't freaking remember, James.
Yeah, that's when I came in. So I don't really know a lot of them. And I follow Gertie. I follow Larsa at times. So I know them more, but I don't really know what to pinpoint of that.
Yeah. It's hard. Also, Lisa and Larsa are both extra and over the top. Jody gives that he's one of the girls as well. So it's hard to know what really went down, especially when people do stuff when the cameras go down. But it'll be fun to talk about. So we will continue to recap this. We are doing the best we can with the scheduling for recaps, y'all. I'm in graduate school. I'm having a lot of trouble balancing work, school, life, YouTube, all these things. Doing the best I can, but we will be back for the next episode. We're going to head into Never Ever Met. That should be a quick live. And then after that, we will be on James's channel. The link is in the description of this video to get to his channel, as well as the Watch Your Mouth Reviews collabs playlist on my channel. We'll be there to go over Somebody's Son. Did anything else come on for you or no?
No, nothing else came on for me. I need to do, what is that show? The Next Gen show. So I might have to do that separately because I don't have the time today, but I was going to do that. I was going to do like a
5 episode in. You better hurry for the season in.
Oh, I'm going to get it. Trust me. I'm going to do it one by one. People are going to be like, damn, James just put out 5 videos at one time. That's fine. I got it. Don't worry.
Yeah, as long as you do it. But go ahead and subscribe to his channel. We're going to recap the Never Ever Mets. I'm not looking forward to it, but it'll be fast and we'll get it through. But thank you to James, and we'll see y'all next time. Adios. Thank you.